Hey guys, my name is Scoby and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to set up DuckStation, the PlayStation 1 emulator, which will allow you to play PlayStation 1 games on your PC. This is going to be a nice quick and easy tutorial. Let's jump right into this. So the first thing we need to do is come to this link. Links is always in the description down below. And this is going to be for DuckStation, the PlayStation 1 emulator we're going to be using in today's video. We're going to be clicking on this Windows option here. I'm going to be downloading the Windows installer, the recommended middle button here. Click this, and then our download will begin. While we have our web browser open, we're also going to be coming to this link, and this is going to be to download 7-zip. If you don't already have it, come here, click download on this exe right here, and let 7-zip download. So I've moved all my files to a new folder, but we just need to be able to easily access them wherever they are on your computer. Once you have everything downloaded, we're going to be moving it to a new folder, and the first thing we need to do is install 7-zip. We're going to be looking for our exe download. Double click this, click yes, select an install location. I'm just going to be leaving it on my C drive, click install, and then 7-zip is installed. After 7-zip is installed, there's two other things we're also going to be needing for DuckStation to be able to play games on your computer. The first of these is a BIOS file, and I will mention I will not be showing you in today's video where to get your BIOS file, but a BIOS file is basically a system file that DuckStation needs to be able to emulate PlayStation 1 games. A quick Google search will help you out here, but typically it will be named in such a format, scph5501.bin. There are a couple of versions of BIOSes you can get and a couple of different region BIOSes you can get. And the second thing we're going to be needing are the PlayStation 1 games themselves as well. And I will also be mentioning I will not be showing you how to download those either. You will need to locate them yourself, or you can create a backup of your physical PlayStation 1 games if you have them, or even play them directly if you have a disk drive in your computer. However, if you download them, they will most likely come in a .7-zip or some type of compressed format. And that's where we will need 7-zip to first extract these games. So as you can see, I currently have a game here in a .7z file. What I can do is right click, show more options, hover over 7-zip, and I'm going to be extracting here. This is going to extract my file into a certain format, and there's a couple of formats that you can get for your PlayStation 1 games. Typically they will come in a combination of .bin and .q files. This is one format that will work. They can sometimes come in .iso files, they will also work. All the games I'm going to be using in today's video are .bin and .q files. So once you have your BIOS files and your games ready, we're now going to be installing DuckStation. So we're going to be finding our .exe file that we downloaded earlier. I'm going to be double clicking this. Now, as Windows does with a lot of emulators, it might give you this blue screen warning. What we can do is click more info, run anyway, and we can then install DuckStation anyway. Here we're going to be selecting an install location. I'm just going to be leaving it on my C drive. You can create a start menu shortcut and a desktop shortcut. I'm going to be doing both. You can choose what you want. Click install. Click OK, click yes on launching DuckStation so we can open it right away. And here we can set up a few more things in DuckStation. So the first thing we need to do is select an install language. I'm going to be leaving it as my system language, so it'll be picked up in English. But if you want to change it to something else, feel free to do that here. You can select the theme if you want. I'm going to be setting it to AMOLED. And then you have the option of enabling automatic updates. Click next. From here, we will then need to locate to the BIOS file that we downloaded earlier. Simply click browse here and locate your BIOS file. Simply locate to your folder. Don't worry if you see nothing in your folder, simply click select folder. And here we'll be able to auto detect our BIOS file. Now from this point, you can feel free to leave all of your BIOSes on auto detect, or if you have multiple, you can go in here and manually select which BIOS you want. Click next. We can then set up a game directory, and here it will scan inside a folder for all of your games. And here we can also see again a list of all the game formats we support. So click add here and locate to your folder. So I have my games here, select folder. I will be enabling scanning recursively so it can select all of the lower folders as well. I would recommend clicking yes here so it will search everything further. Click next. And here we can then set up a controller. Now, thankfully with DuckStation, it will work automatically with a lot of different controllers you would want to use. So for example, I've tested a few, but typically the Xbox One, Xbox Series, PS4 and PS5 will work directly out of the box. What we need to do is make sure a controller is connected to our computer. So I currently have an Xbox One controller connected to my computer. We can then click automatic mapping. I can then see here the SDL0, which is my X input controller or my Xbox One controller. Click this and it will automatically map all the default buttons on your Xbox controller. This is really cool. However, what I'm going to be doing here is setting up another analog controller, and we can actually automatically map this to a keyboard. So you can still use your keyboard even if you're not using a controller directly. So you can still set that up, which is nice that you can still play games even if you don't have a controller. From here, we're going to be clicking next. And here we have some of the most important graphics options that we can set up. So the first thing here we can change is the internal resolution, which I'm actually going to be going all the way up to 4K. This is where you can experiment a little bit depending on the hardware that you're running and the games that you're playing. You might want to experiment with this. From here, I am going to be leaving the texture filtering and sprite filtering alone. However, if you are playing 2D sprite games, it might be worth experimenting with MMPX. It can actually have some really cool effects. I've seen some really cool enhancements, and games like Metal Gear Solid, it looks really, really good. So here you can experiment a bit game by game. The next thing I'd recommend looking at is the aspect ratio. Now, I would recommend leaving it automatic by default. However, if you would like your games to be in widescreen, a 16:9 format, even if they will stretch a little bit, you can set that here. Or if you're using a larger resolution, 21:9 or something bigger, you can stretch to fill. Of course, this will stretch your games. Most PlayStation 1 games are set to run on 4:3 by default. Now, the last thing I would recommend checking is the PGXP, which can help with some graphic geometry that jumps around too much. It's an option I'd recommend starting with. You can always disable these things later, but this is something I'd recommend keeping on by default. From here, we can click next. If you would like to set up achievements and you have a retro achievements account, you can feel free to log in here. This is a really cool option with this emulator. I'm not going to be setting it up in today's video though. Click next. And then finally, we're on the last step. Click finish, and then DuckStation will be open. Now, from this point, I'm going to be launching a game just to make sure everything works as expected. I'm going to be launching Crash Bash as an example. Double click your game and it will launch. After we test to make sure the game loads up correctly, I'm going to be running through a couple more settings. Despite running through a lot of settings already in the setup, there are a couple of other things we can set up, and just to show you where everything is in case you need to adjust it later. Now we can see that my game runs as expected. From now I'm going to be closing it, coming to System, Close Game, click Yes, and now my game will be closed down. From this point we're going to be coming to Settings, we're going to be coming to Graphics, and here on the left we can see all the system options that we played with a little bit later. Graphics, we can also see a lot of the options we already set up. And for render, it is set to automatic. However, I would recommend setting it to Vulkan if you have a dedicated graphics card in your system. And for the adapter, you want to make sure that your graphics card is selected. By default, it should be fine. However, I'm just mentioning this here in case you are having some issues. If Vulkan is giving you problems, feel free to select OpenGL and switch back and forth between the two if you're having problems when running specific games. Another thing I wanted to mention here on the left is the memory card slots. You can set up a memory card for each game. You can create multiple memory cards here. And we can even see where our memory cards are saved in DuckStation, or you can even update this location. So if you do want to back it up or something else, keep this in mind that you can update everything here. While we have this open, we're next going to be going to the emulation option right here. And we're going to be setting up a few more things. Now, if you're noticing some screen tearing issues, you can feel free to set up VSync here, or vertical sync, which can help reduce screen tearing in your games. And if you would like to set up a rewind option where you can rewind your games, you can do that here by enabling rewinding. And here you can choose your save frequency for your rewind states. And we'll look at hotkeys a little bit later in your controller settings to set this up. Finally, in case you would like to edit your controller settings a bit more, click on Settings, Controllers, and here we can see all the controller inputs that we have set. We can also see all of the hotkeys that are currently set up if you want to change them. So we can see that the escape key opens up the menu, how to take a screenshot, pause or toggle full screen. And if you would like to set up any other keyboard shortcuts, you can do it. For example, a fast forward option that you need to hold. And as we set up earlier, here we have the rewind option. If you would like to set that up and map it to something, you can do that here. So you can have all of your options set up correctly. Now, one other thing you might want to do, settings interface, is that your games start in full screen, which you can enable here, which will start your games in full screen, so you don't need to actually manually do that every time. We did look at the shortcut a bit later, but if you would like to automatically start your games in full screen, this is an option. The last thing I wanted to mention is the on-screen menu. If you are in game and you would like to edit some settings, or you want to close or change your game, simply click the escape key on your keyboard and you will get this pop-up. Here we'll be able to resume, fast forward, load a save states, have all of our settings and options, and even close down a game. And just like that, you have set up and you're playing PlayStation 1 games on your PC in 2026. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like. Subscribe if you're new, check out the other videos on the channel. Until next time guys, as always, keep it saucy. Peace.